Okay, so this is part of the telencephalon. This is the back part of the brain, which is where the occipital lobe would be. Then if you turn it on its side, that's where the temporal lobe would be, like right here. And now if you're looking at it from the front, these can come off. This would be the frontal lobe, parietal lobe. So if you take the brain apart, you have this stick-like thing with two like bulbs. On this side, where the red right here, that is the insula. And then you have this part right here with like the colors. That is the hippocampus. And then on the other side, opposite of the hippocampus, in here, you have the lateral ventricles, which are 1 and 2 in Roman numerals. And then within the brain, if you open it, right here, you have the corpus callosum, which consists of the genius, splenium, the body, and the fornix. And then finally, if you open this, like that, there's this white, kind of thick stripe right here, and that is the fornix, which consists of the olfactory bulbs, olfactory tracts, septum pellucidum. This is the diencephalon, which consists of the thalamus, which is this upper main part. And then if you open that, on this side you have the hypophysis, and then right above the hypophysis right here is the hypothalamus. And then if you go a little bit further, this like bulb thing right here, that's the pineal gland. Next we have the mesencephalon, which consists of the corpora quadrigemina. And if you take that apart again, you have this side, which consists of the superior colliculi and the inferior colliculi. There's like these two little bulbs right on the end right here, which are them. And if you open this up, you can see this half bulge circle thing right here, and that's the pons. You can see it on the other side too. They're identical. It's right here. And then you can take the cerebellum, and each one is part of the cerebellar hemispheres, and they come apart. Next, we have structures within the myelencephalon. So if you open this, right next to the pons is the medulla oblongata, which goes right here. And then if you flip this, on the outer part, well, technically the medial part, if you put them together, right in like the middle part between these two structures is the pyramid, and then directly next to it, this pink circle part, is the olive, which... So now we're doing the cranial nerves, and to begin, you can see the cribriform plate of the ethmoid, which is like a bone. And then if you just go down a little bit, you can see a yellow bulb, and that is the optic nerve. It's right above the eye on like the back side. And then if you just move over a little bit, you have the ocular motor nerve. And then, yeah, you can see how that branches up. And then directly next to it, which is like the middle nerve of that like trio, you have the trochlear nerves.
But the dorsal ramus is...
Okay, and then want to show them the last one? That goes up as well, and that's the abducens nerve. And then to the left of that, you have the trigeminal nerve. And then above that is the trigeminal ganglion. It's a bit bigger than like the nerves. Okay, next. On the other side of the branch, you have the ophthalmic nerve. You have the lacrimal nerve, which is responsible for tears, the tear duct. So below it, you have the nasociliary nerve. Another nerve you have is the maxillary nerve, which runs all the way down to the jaw. You want to show like that, yeah. Also within like that trail, you have the mandibular nerve, which is number 20, also running down. Okay, so now we're doing the cranial nerves for like the sheep that are ambiguous in humans. So you have right here is the trochlear nerve. It's like this big thing next to this blue one. And then on the other model, it's located right there, also the trochlear nerve. Okay, next we have the ocular motor nerve, which is this middle white thing right there, the little white bulb. And on the other model, it can be seen right there, that white part. Okay, and then 32, it's like this teardrop blue thing right here. That is the trigeminal nerve, and you can see the same thing right there. It's that white bulb. And then the abducens nerve is just a little bit lower. Looks like it's like a ladder. And then you can see the same one on the other model. Right there. And then the facial nerve is below the abducens nerve. Like looks like the start of like that ladder. And then on the other model, it is located that white tip right there. Right here, this middle yellow line's kind of chipped away right there. That is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Vestibular cochlear. Okay, and then you have
Right here. This
the same thing on the other model.
35.
And then if you go, so here's the ear. If you go below the ear, this thick red kind of curved line right here, number 38, that is the glossopharyngeal nerve. Go ahead, Alexia, show
And
where
that's the top, like, sticking out flap here.
that white thing right there. All right, and then number 39, you're gonna go to like the mouth area and see there's two branching red lines right here, and right here, that is the vagus nerve.
This is 39, the second flap.
Again, the vagus nerve. And then if you go down even lower, so here's like the vagus nerve. You go down, this is like the salivary gland. Right here, it's like this thick red line. It's right under this thicker red part. That is the accessory nerve.
And that's the last flap here.
Okay, and then 41. So this is the accessory nerve. Then directly under 41, where it gets thicker on the neck, that is the hypoglossal nerve. Okay, so now we're doing the spinal cord. So the spinal cord is within like this. And then you have the gray matter, which is like this butterfly shaped thing. And then outside of the gray matter is the white matter. And then you have the dorsal horn, which is on top. And then you have the ventral horn. And then in between those two is the lateral horn. It's that little thing protruding out. And then the thing connecting the two butterfly wings is the gray commissure. And within that, on this model you can't really see, but there's like a circle, and that's like the central canal, which is where everything goes through. The spinal nerves are
Okay.
it's like this going into these two roots. So you have, this is the dorsal root right here, and then this is the dorsal root ganglion, this like lump, and then you have the ventral root, and then those go into the rootlets, which are all these ways. And then you have the sympathetic chain ganglia, or all of these ganglia going up and down. And then the white ramus communicans and the gray ramus communicans are these that are connecting the ganglia. So the gray is on the inside and the white is on the outside right here.
Okay, so now we're going to do the eye. In this bottom section, number 1, this is the superior rectus. It is on top of the tendon, this white part. Down to number 2, which is inferior. That's the inferior rectus. And then this is the medial rectus behind.
So keep going.
And if you look at it this way, that's it too. It's number 3. It's in here. This is the lateral rectus. This is the inferior oblique, which is down under. Maybe I can lift this up. Down in here. This muscle right here. Can you see it? That's the inferior oblique. And the superior oblique attaches to the tendon. And this is the superior oblique. So this is the eyeball. Here's the fibrous tunic, the white part. Then this is the iris. Everything that's contained inside is the iris. Okay. 18 right here, this whole purple part. That is the vascular tunic, which contains the blood vessels also known as the
It's
choroid.
literally like what I am, like mentally.
All these blood vessels.
It's gonna be really easy.
And
for
the
me to
ciliary body, which is
We're
this
about
part
the same
right
age
here.
upstairs.
The flat part's smooth too. These are the ciliary processes suspensory ligaments, also known as the ciliary zonule, these white parts. Again, ciliary, those long straight lines. The ora serrata, it's this purple part here. If you want to look at it in here too, it also clarifies that it's the purple part. So the iris is this part right here. The pupil is the hole. And the lens is what goes like this. So this is the lens. The cornea is what holds the lens. So this thing right here. And the sclera is outside the pupil. So this part right here. Yeah, and anterior segment is within the cornea. So inside this, you have the anterior segment. It's a liquid filling. The posterior segment is what you have the lens, and then this goes here. So inside of 12 is the posterior segment filled with fluid too. And then here we have the macula lutea. That is this tiny dot circle thing right here. And inside that is the fovea centralis. So it's a tiny dot, and that's the fovea centralis. Here we have the optic disc. So when you assume that you flip it over, this is the optic nerve.
Axillary artery, which kind of runs right here on the median nerve. The ulnar nerve goes a little bit lower, which is kind of this stringy guy right here. Underneath it, you have the radial nerve. You can kind of see it on this side too, right here.
So this is the sciatic nerve. Then you have the common fibular nerve, and then the tibial nerve on the inside.
Okay, so this is the auricle, and you have the external acoustic meatus, and then the tympanic membrane is this. Okay, and then this is the middle ear, and you have the incus, the malleus,
Which attaches. So the malleus is this
Attaches
one,
to
it
the-
attaches.
Yep. And then in here, this is the stapes. And you have the
Pharyngodymatic tube.
tympanic.
Tympanic.
And then within the inner ear, you have in here you have the bony labyrinth, and then the membranous labyrinth, which has the semicircular canals, and the ampullae are the large bases at the end of them. The vestibule is this circular part right here, and then the cochlea looks like a shell, and then the oval window is like underneath the stapes. And then the round window is a circular thing right here, and then you have the cochlear nerve, the vestibular nerve, and they make up the vestibular cochlear nerve.